Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we're discussing U.S. immigration and so-called vaccine mandates associated therewith. Thought of making this video after reading a recent article from Metro, that's metro.co.uk. Article is titled, U.S. Extends COVID Vaccine Mandates for Foreign Travelers. Quoting directly, the U.S. has extended its coronavirus vaccine mandate for foreign travelers entering by air. A Centers for Disease Control and Prevention policy around the vaccines was set to expire on January 8th, but the policy will now be enforced at least through April 10th, according to an emergency amendment. I find this interesting, an emergency amendment. I'll get to that in a minute. Quoting further, emergency amendment issued by the Transportation Security Administration. The extension means that all foreigners coming to the U.S. will have to show proof of at least 2 COVID-19 vaccine doses or an acceptable single-dose jab such as Johnson & Johnson. It makes the U.S. stand apart from most this is interesting too. Quote, it makes the U.S. stand apart from most Western nations which have lifted the vaccine requirements after they did not seem to curb infection rates. I want to read that again. It makes the U.S. stand apart from most Western nations which have lifted the vaccine requirements after they did not seem to curb infection rates. Quoting further, the UK and most European countries have ditched the, quote, vaccine passport, unquote, requirements, and good on them. The vaccine passport, I think, is horrible on multiple different levels, most notably dealing with issues such as medical privacy, which apparently everyone has just decided to just throw out, and just not think medical privacy is an issue, which, when did we all decide on that? So leaving that aside, though, I'm not going to get into issues of efficacy and safety. There are questions, though, out there, and I think reasonable people are discussing the topic of efficacy and safety with respect to this. Again, not really within the bailiwick of this channel, but I think it's interesting. Thailand thought of rolling this back out. I thought it was a bad idea for Thailand to do that, most notably because I think it would have had a tremendous negative impact on the tourism sector. I think there's no doubt about that. If Thailand had implemented this, it would have had a negative impact on tourism. Same can be said for the United States, I suspect. If I did a deep dive, I suspect that tourism is heavily down because of this. And meanwhile, and I said this with Thailand, and it goes, quite frankly, just as much for the United States, what's the point of this? Everybody, this thing is considered endemic at this point. Everybody in the United States who wants to get inoculated can, if they should so desire. So what's the point of the mandate? I mean, again, reasonable people can disagree, but let's go back a couple years now. When it started, you can make the argument, okay, it's pandemic and, people that are in the country have yet to be able to get the treatment. So, we're going to mandate it for foreigners coming in because we want to protect our own population. Okay, I understood the argument under those circumstances, but under present circumstances, none of that holds. Again, that brings me to this emergency amendment. I am pretty tired of hearing the word emergency after the last 3 years. We've been hearing it over and over for everything. It seems like every time you turn around, there's an emergency that requires completely new protocols that frankly go against many of the notions in the case of the United States, pretty much all of the notions associated with the liberties enshrined in the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence, quite honestly. Like, a lot of things that happened the past 3 years in U.S. policy terms completely went against many of those notions. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's no asterisk on the Bill of Rights that says, well, except in case of a pandemic. No, I mean, those liberties are supposed to be, unimpeachable, untouchable. You're not supposed to be messing with them under any circumstances. Folks took it upon themselves within the American immigration and public health apparatus to just start dictating things. I think we're definitely seeing the pendulum swing the other way on that. We're starting to see some accountability there. That'll definitely be a good thing to watch. But yeah, let's get rid of this. I don't understand what the point of this is at this point. I think the same analysis that applied to Thailand equally applies to the United States. The U.S. should pull the mandate. It's time to end this. There's no, where's the emergency? You know, what are you talking about? I don't get it. You know, and another thing to note, it's worth noting here, is this applies to foreign nationals only. This does not pertain to Americans traveling into the United States. This is foreign nationals traveling into the United States. So again, you know, just my 2 cents, but yeah, it's looking to be about time to kind of put this behind us, I would think.